Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome in to Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for being here. Tuesday, July 8th. So today we're looking at the Jaguars and their offensive weapons. Their running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. ESPN's Bill Barnwell today put together a ranking of every single team in the NFL and their offensive weapons specifically. Now, this ranking, this list is attempting to try to eliminate the influences of the quarterback, the offensive line, and the play callers on the offense, and instead really just try to figure out and rank properly the running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers, right? Cool. Very cool concept, but also pretty much impossible, right? It is impossible to try to sift through and figure out exactly what each player would be if removed from the current situation that they're in, right? It's just not possible to do it, but Bill Barnwell did his best to do just that. I think it's a valiant effort here by Bill, who does a great job covering the NFL. He's a really smart analyst, and I do really respect his opinion. But this is a tough one. And so he's trying to figure out for 2025, like not looking back at 2024, but for 2025, he's ranking 32-1. The rushing and receiving groups in the NFL combined as one: wide receiver, tight end, and running back groups for 2025. I'm excited to get into it and talk about where he has the Jaguars, obviously, how that kind of stacks up with some of the other units around the league, and just get into it here. So really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. We do have a brand new t-shirt pre-order that just dropped today over at genjag.com/shop. Cool Cats Club t-shirt. We'll throw a image up here and a link in the description below. Really appreciate y'all supporting the channel and supporting what we're doing here. If you want a new t-shirt, go check it out. So at 32, you have the Titans, which I probably don't agree with. At 31, you have the Panthers, 30, the Patriots, 29, the Browns. These are all like the teams that are commonly put at the bottom of these types of offensive lists. 28, Buffalo Bills. That's interesting right there. One of the best teams in the NFL. New York Jets at 27, Giants at 26. They have some talent. Wide receiver group is certainly carried by Malik Neighbors. New Orleans Saints, 24. Denver Broncos, 23. That's a little bit surprising as well. 22, Los Angeles Chargers. Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Interesting. I could see them being a little lower. Raiders at 20. Seahawks at 19. They're an interesting one with the addition of Cooper Kupp. What's he going to be? And then the Jaguars at 18. Your Jacksonville Jaguars come in at 18. Bill Barnwell in the first paragraph basically talks about Brian Thomas Jr., how good he was, legitimately a number one wide receiver. All that is true. Talks about Travis Hunter. Says it's impossible to say how the Jaguars will actually deploy Hunter. I don't think it's impossible to have a good grasp of what the Jaguars are probably going to do with Travis Hunter. I think offensively he's going to be their second leading target. I feel very confident in saying that. Talks about adding De'Ami Brown, having Britton Strange, and then kind of the questions about the backfield. Says Travis Etienne Jr. hasn't lived up to expectations. Tank Bigsby has fumbling issues. Basil Tootin, another rookie fourth rounder for Liam Cohen, like last year with Bucky Irving, to try to get the most out of, puts them at 18. So that's basically saying they're pretty mediocre, right? Keep having focus issues lately with the camera. I apologize about that. Gonna have to figure that out. But 18 for the Jacksonville Jaguars to me feels low. And I think that again, it's really impossible to separate all these players at these positions from their situation. But I do think if you were trying to separate the Jaguars' top two runners, Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, from their blocking situation, from their offensive situation in general over the last couple years, and put their situation at average, which is what Bill Barnwell said he's trying to do here, I think you would probably put Etienne and Bigsby a little higher and have more confidence in them because they're good players. Obviously, yeah, Bigsby does have the fumbling issue, but Etienne, when he has been in even close to average situations, has been a extremely talented and productive and dangerous runner in this league. One team I look at that to me screams that we're not really looking ahead at 2025 as much as we think we are here. The Chicago Bears being at 25 overall doesn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. You have Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden if he gets healthy, and obviously you have your veteran tight end as well, Cole Kmet. To me, that's a strong group. Then you add Roshan Johnson, Kyle Monangai. I think that, and DeAndre Swift, I think that's a much more talented group than 25 overall. I think that Bill Barnwell is kind of feeling the sting of having them ranked a little bit too highly last year, right? So that's one that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And the Jaguars at 18 doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yes, a lot is riding on Travis Hunter. I'm okay with putting a lot on Travis Hunter. I really am. And it's funny because you look at Bill Barnwell's 2024 ranking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 16. 2023 ranking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 9. They have a more talented group of players at running back, tight end, and receiver than they did in either of those years by a wide margin. I think that this is a bit reactionary or just scared to put anything on Travis Hunter. And look, Travis Hunter's the last player I would be scared to put expectations on. And I felt that way long before he was picked by the Jacksonville Jaguars in a massive trade-up that shook up the entire NFL draft. Travis Hunter was my number one player for months since the beginning of the college football season in 2024. And I've always liked him more at wide receiver. I think he's going to be a great corner, but I want him helping my quarterback. I want to utilize those hands. I want to utilize his ability to separate with and without the ball, the natural instincts, the playmaking ability, the body control. So to me, you have the potential here for Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter to be, as Bill Barnwell asks, could Thomas and Travis Hunter become the league's best 1-2 punch of rookie contract receivers? I think it's very little question that they will be. Again, rookie contract receivers. You've got some other nice 1-2 punches in the league that it's going to probably take a little while to catch up with, but there's a non-zero chance. I mean, I think there's a good chance that that's at least a top 5 duo in the league very quickly. Definitely top 10. I mean, you've got some other duos, right? Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. But there's some teams ahead of the Jaguars that I don't think make a lot of sense. And again, I think with the running back room, there's enough good options that when you just look at the talent level of that running back room, I think it's a more talented running back room than a lot around the league, top to bottom. Again, outside of situation. I think having the Cardinals ranked ahead of the Jaguars is a little silly, honestly. I don't think anybody right now would take Marvin Harrison Jr. over Brian Thomas Jr., which would have been a crazy thing to say just a year ago, but that's where we're at. I don't think anybody would take the Cardinals group over the Jaguars group. I think you look at, honestly, the Commanders. Yeah, you love Terry McLaurin. Who outside of Terry McLaurin on the Commanders is really putting them ahead of the Jaguars? I think that they're ahead of the Jaguars because Jaden Daniels is their quarterback and Cliff Kingsbury is their offensive coordinator. And Terry McLaurin is a star. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think that Andy Reid, he would never say it, but I think he would take what he has right now and trade it in for Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and company in a heartbeat. The Cowboys, I would not even consider having CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens ahead. And the Jaguars have a better running back room. I think that Brenton Strange is every bit as talented as Jake Ferguson. The Dolphins, yeah, you can see the argument. Falcons, I can see the argument. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. Obviously, Pitts has had a lot of injury issues. The Ravens, yes, you can see the argument. You know, I think the Jaguars should probably be hovering around 10 right now. And that might even look low by season's end. Because, again, you're going to look back on this ranking and how these teams performed. And it's going to, you know, the coaching, the offensive line, and the quarterback are going to play a big part in it. They absolutely are. So is the defense. But to me, 18 is low. Very low. I think the Jaguars running back room, again, is very talented. And I think that their top 4 receivers, especially top 2 in BTJ and Travis Hunter, and then De'Ami Brown and Brenton Strange, could be as good as anybody. That's how I'm looking at it. So I think it's low. I don't think it's like entirely disrespectful because they're still middle of the road versus bottom of the league, right? Like if I was a Bears fan, I would be like, what the heck are we talking about here? But I think it's going to end up being low. I just think, honestly, Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter are too good to have this low as a duo. And if you just eliminated everything else, that alone would get you higher on this list. But Brenton Strange is a good football player. De'Ami Brown, I think, is going to fit in very nicely in his role here. I think Parker Washington can have a positive impact. And again, I think Travis Etienne is very talented. He was a first-round pick for a reason. If the Jaguars didn't take him, the Steelers probably would have. Or it wasn't the Steelers. Who was it? There was the Bills, I believe. We're going to take Travis Etienne. The Steelers took Najee Harris ahead of Travis Etienne. But Tank Bigsby, day 2 pick, talented football player. Bashal Tutin, talented football player. LeQuint Allen, really good pass pro and pass catching skill set. So, yeah, I'm higher on the Jaguars than this. I don't think it's like entirely disrespectful. I think there's some teams that Barnwell paid a little bit too much respect to based on how the teams performed versus the actual skill of the current group. Again, I think the Commanders, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, these are teams that probably should not be as high as they are on this list. They are wildly overperforming offensively and as a whole, thanks to a lot of other factors, including quarterback play and coaching and offensive line play. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.